Well, I'm going to do something a little bit different on this one. I'm going to put my bonus section in the beginning, which is something I don't think I've ever done before. But I wanted to get this in the middle. I wanted to get it in the beginning because the air compressor, which I received from the company Vevor, I asked for that because obviously it's something I can put to good use building the house, and so that arrived. What has arrived? Let's go see. All right, so this is how it comes. So I just cut along the bottom so you can lift the box right off it. So it looks like the only thing that I really have to do is put the wheels on. So that's a good size. Let's see. Oh, and this one actually, this is nice. It comes with 2 outlets. So instead of having to put a T on like I normally do, this comes with 2. And it's got the regulator built in. Well, let me get a little bit more done and we'll inspect it further. We get the wheels on. All right, that was super easy. Just install the air filters. They just screw right in. Filter's already in it. It's a cleanable. Nice. Wheels went on easy. There's rubber feet in the front. And one of the main things that I wanted to see, I've got this temporary power cord that it's 12-2 burial wire. Not buried, but I used it when we built David's house. Ran it, so I didn't need a temporary service. Ran it off the pole, and so I've got this one. Same thing, and I cut 50 feet off it just to get a little bit less of a drop, because my big compressor would not run plugged into this. It needed to be, it was too much of a drop. So let's put this on for the first time. Okay, it works. Fires right up. It's quiet too. It's way quieter than the big one that I've got in the shop. But this will be good. I can put this right in the house once when I get closer to it over there. Because right now I'm running 200 feet of air hose from over here over to there. So you get a little bit of pressure drop too. See, it's got 2 outlets. Oh, and the geese are arriving. And what else has arrived, let me just show you quick before I forget, is Gatorade season. Gatorade powder season here in South Carolina. Pollen season. I don't know if you can see that, but it rained yesterday, so this was completely washed off, and just overnight it's completely yellow. Again, everything is yellow. It is just like regular Gatorade powder. But anyway, so I wanted to, why is the screen not there? Well, anyway, I wanted to put this in the beginning just because I've got some clips of it that I had used it before what you're going to see it in the upcoming video, or what this video is. And the other thing I wanted to do is put context for, I'm going to put a balloon. Chris always finds balloons, and they're usually always deflated balloons that he finds all the time on every one of his jobs. But this is the second time that I found actual, or I think it's the third time actually, that I found actually balloons still with helium in them. Well, I guess Chris isn't the only one that finds balloons on his job. And I know they always come at a time when I know it's David sending it to me. And as you'll see, I'll put a picture up of it. It's got the number 23 on the balloon, so that I know that he was sending it to me at a particular time that was important. But the number 23, if you've never seen the movie 23, the number 23 comes up all the time. Look in any movie when you watch it. Look at the street number, the house number. It's always 23. things always add up to 23, no matter how you slice it. So that's what it's funny. And I'm going to put a picture up of David as well, when he was in like kindergarten or preschool, and he's got the number 23 on his desk, and the locker that he had at Harbor Freight, where he worked part-time, also was locker 23. So I know that David was sending me a the balloon. So, oh, Misty's here. Hi, Misty. Say hi to everyone. Say hi to, yeah. All right, I'm not going to do a whole video on this, just going to put it in the bonus section, I think. But this is another one of my brilliant ideas. I closed in the side of the lean-to, and I initially was only going to stop it here. Obviously, that's why it's here. Thinking that I would like to have it open so I could put things in from the side. And Miss Wonderful uses, when I'm not keeping it messy with implements that need to be used on the house that I pulled out and haven't brought over there yet, I thought it would be easier to get stuff in and out. But as you can see, especially in the winter, the sun is lower, that the sun and rain and wind and everything get on everything. So rather than have the truck fade and the mini fade and the skid steer fade, I am going to close up the rest of it. So I got 11 more panels, so 33 more feet, and I'm going to stop it here this time and still leave this area open, because that does need to be open. So I'm going to close it in from there. So I got the panels. I needed one more J channel because I already have enough. I just needed one more piece, and I picked up 2x. There's 5 in each row. So I'm going to work on that now. I'll show it when I'm done. I'm not going to show it. I think I have a video on doing it before, so I'm not going to make a video on this. Just I'll show before and after. But what I did want to show is this Vevor air compressor that I showed that I got before. And one of the nice things is it's so light that one person can easily pick it up. The big one that I normally use, you really need 2 people to do this if you're going to lay it down inside. So I'll show taking it out so you can see. All right. Not the best angle, but the only place I could put it. And it's well guarded, but as you can see, I mean, you can just pick it right up and put it down. And everything is well guarded. Let me show you. Everything is well guarded on this side, so you can lay it down. You don't have to worry about breaking any plumbing off, which is a good thing, because that's on some of the compressors, that this area is very susceptible to damage. But even if this got knocked over, there's nothing that could break. I mean, the only thing that would possibly happen is if when your the hose connection, when it sticks out here, if that hits something, that might do something. But pretty much you don't have to worry about it in transport. If it fell over, nothing could really happen to it. So let's give it a try. I've run it before, but I have not fired a gun with it. So let's see what it does. All right, so here it is. That air compressor worked great. I'm really happy with it. So there's going to be a link in the description for that. So if anybody wants to buy it, that'll be there. And I would recommend it. You'll see it in other videos. I'm going to be using it on the whole house build. So it'll be a long-term thing. But here it is. I made a custom cap. I bent that myself with the brake. That is right there. So I like this, and partly I was going to close up the fascia as well. I'll show that in the middle in a minute. But it lets some light in here because it's kind of dark, and I don't have any lights in here. I probably have to put some now, but it's bright enough to see. I'm not going to work out here, but I was gonna. So there's the fascia there. And it's easy to do. I bend it in green myself, but I'm going to leave it open for now just because it lets some light in there. One day I'll probably close it. But yeah, I like it. So I got about 80 feet. That's about 80 feet right there, because this is 100 foot long. So there's about 16 feet left there. So it's in the vicinity of that. Anyway, 80, 85 feet. And so I like it. So anyway, I just wanted to just give a little prologue as to why, you know, this is in the beginning and not at the end. So on with the regular scheduled programming. All right, welcome back, everyone. Today I am going to be starting the walls. Hallelujah. So everything's laid out. I think I showed that in a previous video. All the doors, jacks, windows, intersections of walls. So as I talked about in the previous one, what I'm going to do now is I am going to take the interior walls. I'm going to mark everything, and I'm going to give them a numerical order. So if you look in the front, you'll see here that this front wall needs to go first because the side walls run into it. So what I do is I just decide where I want to start, which doesn't really matter. I think I talked about it before. I've got to have the nailing inspection done. I build my walls laying down, sheathe them, wrap them, house wrap them, and they want to make sure you put enough nails in the sheets. So what they've done for me in the past is I frame as many walls as I can. They come out, they look at it, they see that obviously I'm putting the correct number of nails, if not more. Usually it's more, and they sign off on me so I can continue. But you know, as you can see, you can't stand these side walls up unless that wall's out of the way. And the reason, I talked about it before, but the reason, normally I would try to do that wall and a wall on this side at the same time, or like in the bedroom, I would do one side or the other, or try to do them both at the same time. But because these are 10-foot walls, it doesn't really give me enough room in between to be able to fit the wall jacks, which you'll see. It just makes it too difficult. They barely would make it, so I am not going to do it that way. So I'm just going to go around. I'm going to number these. I'm not going to show it because it really doesn't matter. You'll see it as I do it, which order I do. I will take all the walls that I'm not using. They're already screwed together, as you saw in the other video, and I will move them out of the way and build these walls. So the same thing on this side. The only thing I did do to make it a little easier, I'm making the kitchen is going to be about, what is it, 11 inches. It's about 11 inches bigger than it was going to be. And the reason for that is where it was supposed to go, it fell out directly between two floor trusses. So that would mean, you know, this wall is not holding any weight other than itself, but this is going to have an actual rough hewn beam, a 12-inch, a 10-inch by 12-inch beam, or 12 by 12, whatever I can get, that will be sitting on top of these 2x8 little wing walls, 2 by 8 wing walls here. So I didn't want it to be where I had to go underneath and do bracing underneath. So I just made the executive, well, Miss Wonderful and I can't say I made the by myself. I made sure that she was okay with it, but she is certainly happy to have the kitchen be bigger, and the great room is big enough. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's really the only change that went on there, and this is all ready to go. So now I'm just going to cut all the headers, jacks, and all that good stuff, and get it ready. So all I have to do is assemble the walls. And what I will do is I will frame them all the ones I can, laying down, and then I will sheathe them all at once. So normally I would frame a wall, sheathe it, stand it up, but the reason for that is this way they won't be standing longer than they have to be in case we get a windstorm or something like that. And that will give me time, once I know they're all ready to go, I can stand them all up and then even put the interior walls up with diagonal bracing on it to keep it strong. So I do put bracing on it anyway. There will be braces on things, but they kind of tend to get in the way until you have some of the interior walls up. You can use those as bracing. So hard to explain, but you'll see it when I do it. So let's get started. All right, and there is the compressor. So that is the one that I got to try out, and so far I'm liking it. Like I said, it's got 2 ports on it, and I've got it inside the shop, and I am pre-building. I'm going to be pre-building the headers, and of course, see, it's not raining. But if I try to do this outside, it'll rain. So since I brought it over here, I'm going to work on these here undercover, just in case it rains. And I think I talked about this before in the other video, but this is a gun I probably haven't used in 20 years. I just don't like it. And the main reason is the nails. So these are what are called collated nails. They've got a space between them, either plastic or paper. These are plastic. But the other gun, which I normally use, and I don't have it over here because I'm not going to use it unless this one doesn't work. I will run out of nails. I don't have enough. But you can see the difference. This is the same amount the gun would hold. The other gun holds these, and this is how much this gun can hold, just two sticks. But you can see how far apart they are. So it's kind of a waste. You're losing space. Now some people will say, well, that's the heads are a little bit bigger. Yeah, the heads are a bit bigger on those, but it depends on what you're using it for. These are 10s, 3-inch nails that I'm going to use because this way they won't stick through. They will not stick through. You can nail them straight in when you nail the 2 LVLs together, and they won't come through. So that's what I'm doing. We'll give it a try. I've got it all lubed up, and we'll see if it fires. Well, there's one of the headers for the majority of the windows. They're 37-inch rough opening, so 40-inch header. They only need 1 jack and 1 stud, and unfortunately, the old one did not work. It would not fire a nail, and the piston stayed out after I shot it, but it didn't even shoot a nail in. It wasn't even picking it up, so I don't know. It's not worth fixing it. I never really liked that gun anyway. That's why I said it's just nice when you have different nails to switch from one gun to the next. So I have 10s in this nailer, and I will have 16s in my other nailer. So, and they look similar, but they're a little bit different, so I know which one is which, even though it's the same model gun. So that's the one I'll be using. That'll be nailing all the jacks together. The triple studs for the corners. Anything that needs to be nailed together will be with 10s, so that they are 3 inches and do not poke through. Because as you will see, because the head always sinks a little bit, so even if you use a 16 or even a 12, which is a 3 1/4 inch nail, you'll always get little tips that will be poking out, and it's not good for the layout, and it's not good when you rip your finger open on one of them either. And one of the things that drives me crazy on this set of LVLs, haven't seen it on this one, but this is the one that came from the first truss company. They got the laminations over each other, so that drives me crazy. So I'm gonna cut that off. I just set the saw to barely anything. So I just feather it in. At least it's not a hump to make a bump, and then, you know, it really doesn't matter, but it matters in the long run when sheetrock and trim goes on. Alright, might as well get you a little shot of putting the headers together. Nothing too exciting, but, you know, these are all cut out of the same piece, and even the widths vary a little bit. So you gotta just, it's better to get one side. What I do is try to get the top to be good, and then, because the little bit that only sits on the jack, if you need to, you know, tailor it a little bit, you can. And they're all end up getting cupped a little bit this way, so that's what you need the clamp for, plus so it doesn't move. These are hard, so make sure your air pressure's up. to at least 120. You don't want to go too much because you'll blow the seals off. But you want to make sure that you got them up there. Otherwise, they're not going to go in. And I usually will put one along the middle a little bit and turn it around and do the other side, just to make sure that they're uniformly 3.5 inches. Or if you got a 2x6 wall, you put 3 of them together. Then you don't need the clamp anymore. And these are 2x10s, so the 4 nails is sufficient. And that's about it. Okay, I make a list of how long I need them because you've got the rough openings, but you know, some of these windows, depending on the size, like on a 12-footer, you need 3 jacks and 3 studs, king studs. So, you know, you're adding a different length. So on these small ones, I'm only adding 3 inches to the length of from the rough opening. But on the as they get bigger, some of them have 2 and some of them have 3. So, and I just make a list. So now I've done 6. So I need 9. So I had already done 5. So now I started over again. So I've done 6. So I got to make 3 more of those. I've already done my 37 because on some of these they were about a 1/2 inch too short from being able to make them 40 inches. So I just look, and that's why I always make the longer ones first, because this way with the smaller ones, you know, you'll always have something that you can use. I shouldn't say always, but for the most part, at least you might have another one where if you're in short, like see, the smallest one I have is a 29, no, a 28. And I have 2 of those, so I will be waiting, you know, possibly towards the end that I'll have a piece left over. They're pretty expensive. They're $8 to $10 a foot, so you don't want to be wasting it. And just so you know, you always hear me talking about how I like everything precise, and which I do. But I want to show you I'm cheating just a little bit here. So this was a factory cut, and I was able to get both of these pieces out of one. Just one cut got it perfect, but one end was not exactly square. So you can see, touches here. This one's just a hair short right there. Makes no difference on that. So just to let you know, that's okay. Nobody would ever see it because it'll be sitting on the jack, but that little bit is not going to do anything. These headers are way overkill. Most of these walls have no weight on them anyway. They are not load-bearing walls because of the trusses. You know, the outside walls or the front wall, whichever walls are carrying the trusses, the opposite wall is really only holding itself. And these are 9-inch LVLs, which, you know, this is a 37-inch span. This is way overkill. Like I said, it's easier to do because you don't have to put plywood between them and or box them in. Oh, there's Misty. Hi, Misty. How's it coming? Misty, you gonna say hi to everyone? Misty, say hi. Misty, say, yeah. There you go, I knew you'd say hi. Junior, I didn't get too much video of him. He is all fixed. He would have died, the vet said, our neighbor. And, right, he would have died, right, Misty? Yeah, I know, so it's a good thing we caught him. But he is back out, went back out today, so he's out of quarantine. Not, it wasn't quarantine, but we had him in a nice cage so that he could, right? Yeah, you'll be happy. He was in with Misty in David's garage where her house is. So just wanted to point that out. Yeah. All right, so on the bigger ones, what I do is I put them together and I cut them at once with the monster saw. And on 2x6 ones, I can actually use the Sasquatch saw that I have and cut all 3 of them together. But I am not going to put 3 of them when I do that. I'm only going to put a double in the wall when I lift it, and then I'll put the last or the third one in after, just to try to keep the weight down a little bit, because the 12-foot wall 2x6 with big headers in it is heavy. So let's give that one a cut. Love that saw. I've had that one for probably 30 years. That's a true Milwaukee. Well, what do you know? I'm one header short, a 28-inch header. So less than 5 feet short. I got to get one more. All right, here's my setup. This is what I do for making repetitive cuts. I make this jig. Well, I made this jig. So what you can do is you can put a stop. I just use a piece of wood and a clamp so I don't have to make holes or anything. But I've got to make a whole bunch. These are the jacks. So these are 94.5 to make an 8-foot header because of the bottom plate. So what I will do is I will put a clamp down here, and that will be my stop. And I can just make repetitive cuts, as many as I want. Don't have to measure, and I'm good to go. And this is screwed. This gets screwed in to the fence from behind, so this won't move. And I'm not doing any miters or anything, so it's just going to be a straight cut. So I can leave the fence high like that. Makes it a little easier. I can cut a couple of them at once. I'll clamp a 4x4 down here, and I can cut 2 at once. Alright, so you can see that whole pile, the whole unit of pre-cuts is gone. It's all right here. So I've got, I'll give you a side view of it. So this is what it looks like. This is a wall nailer, so this is in the wall, so another interior wall, or it can be an exterior wall, goes there. So that gives you a place to nail against. I've got doubles, as I've talked about, how I have a sheet fall on a full stud. This is a double wall, so this is between the pantry and the hallway. So there is a wall, there's a wall on both sides. So that's a double. I've got all the headers cut for everything. I've got all the sills cut for everything. And the only thing that's left to do is the soldiers and the cripples. And I was hoping, oh, and let me just show you. I did it fairly well. I was trying to keep, I didn't want a lot of tongue weight going on here. But I think I did it too well. Because you cannot lift this trailer up, and I can lift it up. So I've got to put a little weight in the front. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use I usually move this just with a ball. But I am going to actually put a pintle into there. And part of the problem I did is I was going to use, I'll show you in a second, but I wasn't going to use it on the fork tip like that, just because this is going to be a little bit heavier. I was actually going to use the plate that I have, the hitch plate, which I'll show you. But I've locked myself in here. I can't get out. So I can either take the forks off and put them on top and do it that way, or I think what I'm going to do is just move it out forward. I'm not going to bring it all the way around. I'll just move it out and then reconfigure everything. So I have this hitch plate, which is much stronger, obviously. So I'm gonna, as I showed before, sorry for the wind, I lost the wind muff that's supposed to be on this. I don't know where it went, probably blew away. But I'll just show you the setup again. Of course, they're about 1.5 inches too short, 1 inch to 2 inches too short for what I need. I can use them on top for the soldiers, but unfortunately for the cripples. So let me open up this door again. The wind is just unbelievable, so I'm sure it'll close on me again, but just to show you how I do this. So for cutting the sills, so they're cut on this side, I just mark them and use clamps like that. Then I draw on here and write what it is. So if I need to cut more, if I missed a few, I don't have to remeasure it. I know right where the line is, and I can just clamp it back. So I'm going to leave this set up and bring this whole trailer closer to the house on the other side. So that's what I'm going to do now. Well, here's another thing that really irks me. Stupid, you know, there's emissions on these things. Let me get out of the way here. I went into leak bed. So, what's really stupid, I mean, obviously we know why they do it. The government just trying to beat money out of us. Wrecks the equipment, but so the thing's not even warm. I've got to rev it up to like 2,700 RPMs. It's going to take at least 20 minutes, so I'm burning off all that fuel. I can't hook up to the trailer because there's no way that I can do a precise pull-up when the thing is racing at 2,700 RPMs. And then, even when I'm done, I have to let it run for 20 minutes because you can't shut it off. So, saving the environment. I'm burning, so you either burn it off when the engine runs, or you burn it all off in once, but you're using fuel and wasting motor life that you don't need to. It's just such a stupid thing. So I think it's delete time. Well, I got it hooked up, but it's just, I gotta leave it like this for another, it'll be 20 minutes at least. Unbelievable. Alright, let's see how it goes. I prefer not to have to switch it over, but there's not a lot of tongue weight, so I think we'll be alright. Yeah, I guess it'll be alright. Not going very far, so. Alright, well, we'll get it when we get over there. I gotta use two hands. It's doing just fine. I'm not going too fast, so I don't put any torque on it, but I guess I balanced that out pretty good. All the weight's on the axle, no weight other than pushing it. There's nothing on there, so I'm putting it up on top of that pile there, so I'm going to need both hands again when I get up there. I will show you when I get it up there. Alright, so there we go, all set to knock this off, knock these walls off. Got the trailer with the trim saw in it. I got the trailer with the blocking lumber. That's all the blocks. You'll see that on the wall video, but I'm gonna have to unload that anyway. I got good news. The Warrior, finally, the parts, the new computer and wire harness finally came in. It only took 6 months. So I'm going to bring that down there, which I put it on that trailer. So I'm going to bring that down to be fixed, and hopefully they'll have that in a day, hopefully not more than 2. Sorry for the wind noise, but I lost the wind muff that goes on this thing, and you cannot buy them. They do not sell them. Go figure. So anyway, so there's everything. That will save a lot of walking right there. I'm going to leave it hooked up to the skid steer until I unload it so that it doesn't tip backwards or roll backwards either. So the one thing that I'm going to do right now, and I'm not going to film it just because, is I'm going to number these walls. You can see we got so much rain. That's what's taken so long to get this video up. We've had a ton of rain, so I have a squeegee and I would push the water out afterwards. So I opened up a few of the walls so that I could do it. I started to put them back, but I didn't get to that one yet. So basically what you do is, I think I talked about it, but that front wall has to go first because the other ones go up against it. So that will be one that goes first. So I'm going to put these in order of the ones that I can do, and label the other ones in what order, because I will forget. You know, like this wall has to go, well, it doesn't have to go before that wall, it's okay, but some of these interior walls, you won't be able to stand them up if you don't do them first. And when they're not there, it's one thing to look at them here and the lines are snapped on the floor, but when you're not actually looking at it, it's easy to forget which one goes first, and then you could get to where you could have a hard time to assemble the wall or stand it up. You'll have to build it somewhere else and slide it around, and yeah. So that's basically where we are. Same with this side. I opened up a little bit to squeegee the water out, and now it is going to be ready to be put together. So the good thing is that that part will go fast because I have 90% of everything already cut. It's just a matter of pulling them out, full studs, put it together. So I think I will end this video here, just because I can't wait until the walls go up, and I haven't put one up in a while because I've been waiting. So again, that compressor seems to be pretty good, so I have a link in the description with discount codes for that, and I guess that's about it. So as usual, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one, and the next one will be wall framing and standing up.